Hi everybody, so today I am just going through a very quick demonstration of how to create a background like this that we can then develop further into a pile of autumnal leaves using our negative painting technique. Okay. Okay, so what we need to do to start with is just to warm our palette up a little bit so that we're not working with dry paint. So, this is because we're using I'm using paint out of paint pans. If you're using paint out of tubes, just go ahead and squirt some into your palette. You can skip this step. What I am doing is I am taking, just bring this into view, this is my clean water and this is my brush. It's an SAA Imitation Sable number 6, and I'm taking a brush load of water and I'm just wiping it into the paints that I want to use. Now I'm doing a background for an autumnal carpet of leaves, so I'm using burnt sienna. Another brush load of water is going into my burnt umber. Just give that a clean in my not quite so clean water, and then into my pick up very clean water, brush load into my yellow ochre, make sure that's gone in, and then a brush load into my French ultramarine. Alright, then I'm going to put my clean pot of water down, clean my brush, and this time I'll just bring that back in. So I'm cleaning my brush and this time I'm just wiping off the water because I don't want to add too much water in there. And then I'm just going to go in and give it a little stir. Clean that. Into my, where did I last put it? In the burnt umber, give that a little stir. So I'm just sort of warming the paints up, dissolving the top so that they're really ready and nice and liquid, ready for us to work with. So I'm going to give the paint, the burnt sienna a little stir around. And the French ultramarine, just give that a little wipe across the top. This is a different brand of paint knife, French ultramarine, and I've not used so much of it yet, so I'm just giving that a little wipe across the top. And they are ready. All right, so let's move that out of the way and bring in my piece of paper. There we go. It's a bit of an odd shape, this, but I've just got it so that it's the right size for your viewing. And the sun has moved since I started this, so I'm just going to shuffle some stuff around so that I've not got that reflection. Not reflection then, the sun coming through the window getting in the way. So we'll just move that way, move the camera this way. All right, we're in business. What did I do with my brush? Someone help me find my brush. There it is. Right, so what we're going to do now is we've got our paper ready. This is Bockingford 300 grams per square metre, and it's the not surfaced one. And I have some cling film at the ready as well. And we're going to start off with our nice liquid yellow ochre and just pop it on here. Pop it on the painting. I want it to be nice and liquid, and I'm just randomly depositing it in. I'm making sure that there's puddles of paint here. I'm adding more water as I go. There we go. Clean the brush. Next, I'm going to go for the next lightest colour, which is the burnt sienna, and I'm just going to deposit that next to those patches of yellow ochre, keeping it as random as I can. I'm not mixing any colours in my palette. I'm literally going straight from the pan of paint onto the paper. That wasn't strong enough, so you make sure your colours are nice and strong as they're going on here. When we apply the cling film shortly, it will take off some of the paint. So, and I'm also working quite fast because I don't want any of this to dry out. And I can see, because it's such a nice sunny day and it's warm in here, that it is drying out already. Next I'm going to pick up the ultramarine. I'll be very cautious with this. Drop a little bit in here and there. but it's a much stronger colour, especially once you've done your dilution with some water before you started. Now I'm coming back in for my burnt umber, and I am dropping these in. And just keeping an eye on as well where any hard edges are forming and where it might be drying out, and getting in there quick so that it keeps it all nice and wet. Okay, now I recommend that you don't go too big with this because it does dry out quite fast, and I don't want you to get stressed over it, so just go quite small. If you see you've got your, like my burnt, my yellow ochre was drying out a little bit, so I'm just going back over some of those to make sure that they stay nice and wet. Then the next thing you need to do, whilst it's all still wet, is get your cling film. Scrunch it up a little bit, give it a good scrunch. You want lots of creases in there. Drop it on your paper and then push it around. So can you see how wet that paint is under there? And you can see where these little creases are falling. And I don't want it to be all in a straight line, so I'm pushing it this way and that way. I'm pushing it quite hard, pressing down quite hard, so that we end up with lots of little shapes like that in there. Okay, now I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave it for a couple of hours. It might not need that long because it is a really warm day, but if when you're doing it, it's not a warm day and the weather at the moment is not entirely predictable, just leave it for a couple of hours to dry, and then when it is dry, peel off the cling film. Okay, that's it for now. So once your paint is dry, you can peel your cling film off. Just pull it away. You can hear it peeling off. It's a bit like peeling sunburn. Ooh, that feeling of peeling your skin off. Is that weird? It's probably weird. Just peel it right off, and then you can wash your cling film and use it again another time. No need to throw it away, and you're left with this lovely background which we can then use to create our, we can develop it further if we want to, or we can just leave it as it is as a background on a bigger piece for like an autumnal floor or something like this. All right.